Well, hello, my friends. Welcome to Bradley J. Travel. This is being streamed to multiple destinations. I'm now able to stream to 8 simultaneous destinations. And we're going to look at Jordan today. This is the first time I've done this. I wanted to do it a long time. I've been experimenting with the best way to do it. And I think I found a way. So we'll see. I'll explain how I'm going to do it. I use a Mac. I have photos. You can make a photo album. And then it says play. What does it say? Play slideshow. And it plays it like a movie, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop it at each picture and talk about it. Are you ready? Let's begin. And by the way, go to my YouTube channel, Bradley J. Travel, for full videos. There are over 150 videos there. I did a lot. I did like 125 videos during the pandemic, and they're good. I look at popular videos on YouTube, and they're just as good, if I do say so myself. Now, let's try to do the show. You ready? Let's try this. Let's find a better screen than that, a better way to do that. Yeah, I like this better. Okay. Now, this trip to Jordan is, well, I only went once. I've been to Israel. I've been to Jerusalem 4 times, but only managed to get to Jordan 1 time because a friend had to go to a wedding there, or wanted to go to a wedding. Her BU roommate was Jordanian, like a rich person in Jordan, and she was getting married and needed somebody to go to the wedding, and I went because why not? We went to Israel, and then we went down to, took a bus down to the Dead Sea and then continued to Aqaba. And then took a taxi to Petra. And then up to Amman. And then over back to Jerusalem. The picture you see here is Jerusalem, taken from the wall built by the Ottoman Empire. And it is my favorite place to visit in the world. I was there in July, a few weeks before the war. Did a video, and that can be found on Bradley J. Travel on YouTube. Now let's move along here, see what happens. See if I can make this work. There. Okay. Not bad. This is great so far. This, my friends, is the Dead Sea. It is my wife's dream to go there and swim in the Dead Sea. It's a bucket list thing. I'm fortunate I've done that couple times, 3 times, on both the Jordanian side and the Israeli side. This is at En Gedi. Oh, no, sorry. This is the Jordanian side. And we went there with that woman that got married. You see Israel in the background. The Dead Sea is the lowest place on earth, and it's so salty that you float strangely. I mean, in no other lake can you keep your hands and your feet and your body out of the water. It's so, so weird. And it's so, so hot. And next we have, all right, here's a story. There's the girl that got married. The guy on the right is the guy she got married to. The guy with the hat is named Sammy, which is short for Samir. And he's rich because his father is the person that brought rebar to Jordan. A lot of places, they have earthquakes. They crumble because there's no rebar in them, no reinforcement, no reinforced steel. I heard he had something to do with that. And therefore they're rich. You see that place in the background? That is King Hussein's hangout in the summer when King Hussein was king. You see that white tower in the front? That's a guard tower. See the guard in there? He's got a gun. And these guys were pals. And and there was a guy sitting in a chair drinking a lemonade. I like to think that was the king. I mean, it probably was. You can drive to Amman in a few hours. Like, I don't know, 2 maybe? That's what it feels like. So that was, this is the Red Sea. Not the Dead Sea anymore. This is the Red Sea. And it's down near Aqaba. Maybe it is Aqaba. Like onward to Aqaba in Lawrence of Arabia. That's Aqaba. And notice the Red Sea is so crazy clear. people like to dive in the Red Sea because it's clear. You can see so far down. I saw something down in the water I thought was about 12 feet down. And they said, no, that thing that you're seeing is about 6 times bigger than you think it is, and it's 60 feet deep there. Really, it looked like 12 feet deep. It was creepy. Hey, this is working out well. Okay, here's another story. These kids, these punks, were kids, I believe, of King Hussein, and they had a boat, obviously, and they ran around out in the Red Sea, and they got a poor octopus and splattered it on the windshield like a-holes. It's too bad because I love octopi. I don't eat them anymore since Oedipus told me and showed me how smart and wonderful they are. So I feel bad this poor one's on the windshield. But a little bit of a rock and roll story here. I mean, before we saw these kids pull up in the boat, we heard the boat, and then we heard music, and it was Courtney Love. It was Hole, the band Hole, and I can't remember the song, but it was her big hit playing. They had a boombox, and these kids in Jordan in the Red Sea are riding around listening to Courtney Love. Rich kids. Okay, one of my favorite photos ever. This is so meaningful to me. Way out in the Jordanian desert, they have police tents. They don't have buildings, they have tents. Look at that rug. So this moment did 2 things for me. That's me in the white shirt. Did 2 things. It made me love rugs, and it made me love hookah. Look at the bowl they use as a Pepsi can. And these are the desert police out there in Jordan, some of the desert police. And that's how they hang. Look at the rugs. These rugs are in the sand. That rug my feet are on is right on the sand. And this, you can see the tent poles right in front of me. They were super friendly. And I was so happy to smoke that pipe. It was legit, right? I mean, that's legit. You're in the desert in Jordan, 1,000,000 degrees. And the local cops in the local cop tent said, hey, you want some shisha? I said, yeah. They have shisha all over the place there. Even in McDonald's, you can smoke a pipe, a shisha pipe. I look at that rug just wound around the pole there. So beautiful to me. And and when I got home, I started collecting them. I bought cheap ones. I buy cheap ones. Used ones. They hang on the wall. I just love them, and they remind me of this moment right here. This moment. All right, moving on. Oops, there's I don't know why, a black and white version of the same. Okay, this. Picture of a camel hanging out in Petra. This is in front of the Treasury building in Petra. You've probably seen photos of the Treasury building. Again, this trip went from Jerusalem down, past Jericho. You take a right at Jericho, which is about 8,000 years old, and it's been occupied nonstop because they have a spring that has never dried up in 8,000 years. You take a right, you go by the Dead Sea. You probably go up to Masada because Masada is right across from the En Gedi Spa, where most people, including myself, go to the Dead Sea. Then you continue down Eilat and cross the border down there because it's a lot easier because that's where rich people cross. Up at the Ellensby Bridge, it sucks because there's huge lines. It's much busier. People cross back and forth there to go to work. Much easier down the Allenby Bridge. I mean, much easier down in Eilat, into Aqaba area. And the people we were meeting up were waiting for us, across the desert sands with a Mercedes, which was nice. And we hung around, and you saw the pictures there on the Red Sea. Then the next day took a cab to here. And they had this weird checkpoint. in the middle of nowhere, and some desert cop checked, our IDs, and he could have kidnapped us or whatever. No one would have ever known. The cab driver could have sold us or whatever. But this is not a tourist camel. This is a camel. Well, I don't think so. I mean, maybe it must be. I don't know. But it wasn't a camel they were giving camel rides. It was just there. And we'll move forward here. And so Petra is a city that's just dug out of the rock. Even the columns in the front are carved out of the rock. It's soft. You can kind of dig it with a spoon almost. And people lived. Oh, the Nabatean people lived here. And the Nabateans. And once again, this is Jordan for full. These photos are not high quality because, as I mentioned, they're in the 90s and they're probably taken with a, Instamatic. This is a ceremonial kind of desert cop guy in Petra. And look at the rock, the swirly rocks in Petra. There's a hotel we stayed at, and I think that's later on, months, years later, there was a terrorist attack on that hotel. Okay. This is also Petra. Just a crack in the rocks where somebody's selling junk. But this is what it is. This is it. Petra. Wicked hot and really, 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 really exotic and remote and weird. If you want exotic and remote and weird, there's the. Oops. Okay, this is the Dead Sea again. As the night arrives, this is on the Jordanian side. We're going to concentrate on the Dead Sea a little bit. On the Jordanian side, they have these little huts. I don't know if you have to rent them or you just use them, but they're little huts with grass umbrellas. That's like a shade thing. And there, little gazebos on the Dead Sea, and this is the Jordanian side of the Dead Sea. Looks pretty beat in this picture, right? But it's impressive. Crushing heat. And so salty. If you swallow that water, it's like curtains. I mean, if you swallow too much of it. Up, there's my foot. I had the camera out in the water, floating. And that was the girl that got married there. And this is Jordan. I remember it being so hot. And I remember being happy to get back to the hotel. And on the deck of the hotel, you could smoke hookah and you could eat. And people eat. They'll take a bite of food. And they will then take a hit of the smoke. And by the way, hookah bars around here are such a ripoff. I remember in Egypt, at the most expensive hotel in Luxor, where Prince Charles stayed, King Charles, even there, the most expensive place, hookah was $3. Now, I understand that's Egypt, that here, it's $18 during happy hour to go to a hookah bar. The best one, I'm not going to give them a plug because they don't give me anything for free, but the best one doesn't serve booze. The best one I've been to in Boston. It's just tea, but it's pretty legit. This is Jordan on the way to or from the Dead Sea. From. That Petra, this is again driving away from the Dead Sea. It's pretty intimidating, right? Imagine if you were living back then. You're a Canaanite or one of the people that lived in some tribe back then. This is what you had to deal with. And this is the kind of terrain you had to deal with if you were a person that wrote and deposited the Dead Sea Scrolls. That's me, as you might guess. Not very good posture, right? Camels are really intense. You can't mess with them. They don't seem happy. And when you get on, they're really tall. And so when they get up, first they I think they put their back legs up. Somehow, it feels like you're going to fall off. It completely feels like you're going to fall off. And in the background, there is some fort in the middle of nowhere. Now, this is maybe the best photo I've ever taken. It's just National Geographic level stuff. This is a good enough picture to be in the MFA or anywhere. It just is. Lucky. Just got lucky. Black and white photo in a place way out in the desert. The same trip. It's on the way to and on the way from where the desert police hung out. Way out there. We had a guide to take us around. The guide sucked. You got to be careful about guides. Here's the wedding. The woman in the center is the bride. And this is in Jordan. And one thing you realize when you go and do these kind of things in that kind of place is that really, except for the extremists, everybody kind of wants the same thing. They kind of want their kids to do well and to have a happy wedding and to have children and have happy grandchildren. It's kind of a universal thing. And, of course, these people were well-to-do, and I guess they're not desperate, so they're happy to be non-radical. They're the haves, and the system's working for them. But still, when you hang out, you realize that folks pretty much want the same things. It's only the stupid stories they believe. I'll tell you, Yuval Noah Harari says that the thing that makes humans different from other animals is they work together in large groups. The only way you can work together in large groups of 100 or more is if you believe the same story. Right? The same story, like Christianity, Islam, whatever. And it's these stories, the different stories that divide us. The only thing that divides us from Islam or whatever is they believe a different story than we believe. If we could get over that, the world would be a better place. But it won't happen in my lifetime. I'm just shrinking down in my little bubble and hanging around with my friends. Okay, this is where I realized for sure, 100%, that in general, people are the same, and it's only the BS stories, the differing myths that we believe that separate us. Here's a kid, sweet kid, and everybody just wants the best for this kid. His parents want him to get educated, want him to have a family, want him nothing but the best for his kid, just like you. Again, we're all the same except for those stories. We're coming to an end. This was a nightmare. King-size nightmare. This is the border crossing at the Allenby Bridge. This is the closest one to Jerusalem as far as I remember. And this is the one that a lot of people cross to go to work. But while we were there, a bus blew up. Back then, in the 90s, it was kind of testy to take the buses, because on those buses, everybody was scared to death. You could see it in their eyes. And one blew up while we were there. And so the border had closed for 5 days. The 5 days we were in Jordan. So when we came back, there's 5 days worth of traffic waiting to get across this border. And this is the bus we had to wait in. As you can see, the Arabic stuff in there, their queen, picture of their queen there somewhere. And so I thought I was going to be a smart guy and get out. Everybody had to go through this little passport hut. Everybody, hundreds of people. I thought, I'm going to get in there and get our passports stamped and everything. It'll be first, so we don't have to wait. And I did, and it was hell. It was actually what real life is like now for many people. I mean, that was just a tiny, tiny, tiny taste of what life is like when you're not living in Boston or America or let's just say a first world country. A little taste of another world, and it was not fun. Fighting your way in to get your passport stamped. Thing is, it didn't matter because the bus wasn't going to leave until everybody else had their passport stamped. I don't know what I was thinking. It was brutal. And that night, we had to go to the airport, and we hitchhiked, by the way. And we got a ride in a white van. And these people in the white van said, "You can stay at our place." And we said, "No, thank you." We may be dumb, but not that dumb. I am a hitchhiker. I do try to hitchhike in foreign countries when I can, including Jordan, Israel, Croatia. There we are. So that was my little Jordan slideshow. That was very small and it went quite well. For full-length videos, why don't you go to Bradley J. Travel on YouTube and subscribe. All right? All right. I'll talk to you soon. Bradley J. Travel at YouTube. Bradley J. Travel at YouTube. I should have, and I stupidly didn't include the link in the description of all this. But Bradley J. Travel YouTube, check it out. Search it. It's spelled J-A-Y. Bradley J-A-Y Travel. This went up better than I expected. I guess I deserve a drink now, right? After all, it is 6:21. Bye now.